Hello, everyone. Today is April 20th, 2022. I'm here today with Troy Hipolito. Troy is the not so boring LinkedIn guy. Thanks for coming on the podcast, Troy.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. I appreciate that.
So, the not so boring LinkedIn guy is the headline of your
My
LinkedIn.
my LinkedIn page. Yeah, yeah.
What does that mean?
Well, there's a lot of people that do what I do, just like there's a lot of people that do what you do, right? And on LinkedIn, you have to have something that stands out, a phrase, a branding thing. So how am I going to separate myself from everyone else? And I didn't want to have anything offensive. I had an IT company before called ISO Interactive, and that was like the number one Swissipino game designer in the world, right? It's kind of my pickup line. And because my mother's from Switzerland and my father's Filipino. And so that didn't really match up to what LinkedIn is. So I said, well, I'm the not so boring LinkedIn guy because a lot of these guys are dry as toast. And I'm actually pretty dry, but it's kind of a flip on the side of the other coin. So it's a way to distinguish myself from other people that do what I do. And so it's a branding item.
Very nice. And so, what do you do?
Oh, we help a lot of clients excel on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is known for having kind of high ticket items, different kind of services, different kind of companies. I help those companies convert to communicate better on LinkedIn, to gain more meetings on LinkedIn, to convert to more business on LinkedIn. So a lot of that is about communication, being a little more human, having a day-to-day process, and then adding systems to kind of accelerate that process.
Okay. What made you choose LinkedIn versus another social media platform, say like Instagram or Twitter?
Well, again, I think LinkedIn is known for like high value services. So some of these coaches charge thousands of dollars a month per person. If you have a software service, or you have a one-on-one type client type of situation, you can convert much easier on LinkedIn. And LinkedIn has over 700 million professionals on there, and then half of them are on it daily. And so you have an audience, a captive audience that will kind of work with you on these high-end services versus Instagram and on some of these other platforms. It's very visual, but you're not, it's much more difficult to sell something over $1,000 or $10,000 per month, per service. Only LinkedIn is probably is more optimal for that kind of audience. It's a buying audience.
Okay. What do you mean by a buying audience?
If you post something on Instagram, usually they're low ticket items, typically. And even if it's a high ticket item, it's a one-time purchase. LinkedIn is designed for like what I consider high ticket is anything over $1,000 a month that's residual. So say I have the minimum high ticket item, which is $1,000 a month, right? Say I have my LinkedIn service. Actually, mine's a little higher than that. We'll use $1,000 just for simplicity. And I pick up 10 clients. Well, that's 10 grand per month, and so each time I gain a client, it kind of compounds in a positive way. So that audience is a buying audience. They will purchase those type of services because they know that LinkedIn is driven towards business and relationships. What LinkedIn doesn't work well in is when you try to sell stuff. So that's a really big area where people mess up. They try to sell their services versus getting to know the person and see if they can help them out. So when I have a 15-minute meeting with someone, I tend to have one goal, well, two goals. One is just to get to know them, and the other is to help them out if I can. And that's it. I don't care if I make money or not, because there's one of three things going to happen if I help that person. That person goes away and does what I tell them to do, and it solves their immediate issue. and you put out good energy in the universe, you did your good deed for the week. They never can talk bad about you. The second option is they do what you do and it solves a problem, but they're serious about their business. And they notice that there's 22 other things that only Troy can fix. And we've already built a trust factor because I did stuff for free for him, and they'll hire you. They'll hire you. The third is they like you so much, they'll send a recommendation. And people recommend other people because they trust you. And 50% of your business is often recommendations. It's not your outreach. It's not your posts and stuff. It's the result of your outreach and the results of your posts because someone talked to you and they get to trust you. And once they trust you and they recommend you someone else, it's much easier to close a deal, much easier. And so by coming from a place of service, you're able to convert business.
Okay. I'm still a little lost. What do you mean by LinkedIn services?
LinkedIn services. Did I say that? I provide services to other agencies. They could be marketing agencies. It could be, hey, Troy, I need to get this kind of client, right? And I will help that individual find those prospects and build a relationship. And then during that relationship process, they'll be able to close deals. For example, IT companies. A typical conversion on an IT project is, I don't know, anywhere between say 3 to 9 months, right? It takes that long to build a relationship, right? So I get them on the path of building that relationship in order to close those deals, because those IT companies may say they make only $1 million a year. It's a small company, right? Well, if they made, 50% more, it wouldn't be just $500,000 more profit, more money. A bigger portion of that would be profit, because a lot of these companies are teetering between paying services to the people developing these things for the clients and then increasing clients. And so a small bump can make a big difference in a company. So I help them on LinkedIn to find those prospects, train them to build those relationships, and eventually close those deals a lot faster. For example, one method would be like, how many business meetings am I getting a week? Well, if it's one, it's probably not enough to do business. You have to reach out to other individuals, do your meet and greets, understand who you're talking to at a higher volume. I can easily get between 35 and 45 meetings a week if I want. I don't choose to do that anymore because I have a business to run, right? So I reduce my meetings down to like 20 meetings a week. And I have no problem getting my client, getting a new client every single month. I also have multiple revenue streams that are all LinkedIn related. So if I get one primary client a month, that dollars stack on top of each other. So it's kind of a compound interest. So I get a client in month one, I get a client in month two, client in month three, you start building up. So I had 1,000, now I have 2, now I have 3 per month, and it grows that way. And that's my LinkedIn Accelerator program. I also have a pilot program. Not everyone can afford the services, and some people want to do it themselves. So a lot of times they will have the pilot program, which is much more affordable. And I tell them what's wrong. I tell them what to do how to fix a particular problem. It could be, how do I set up my LinkedIn event? How do I set this messaging up? Or how do I target these individual prospects? And so I give guidance, and those people implement it, which is kind of a cheaper plan, a more affordable plan. I also have LinkedIn courses. That's another revenue stream. So we have over 200 videos on some of these courses where people want to self-learn and convert stuff. And that way you're helping these different audiences actually excel on LinkedIn, because not everyone is at the same place. You kind of meet them where they're at.
Okay. What do you think the value is to being connected on LinkedIn?
In what respect?
To the individual, say your client.
When you're saying that we're connected on LinkedIn,
Yes, like saying, because there, for example, you say there are a lot of people that are dry. There are also a lot of people who don't post anything at all. And you have the Troy Show, I have the Karush Koilu podcast. We're not in those, we're not in that category. But for those people who post nothing, who don't share their day in, day out, you know, what they do and what they need, where do you think the value is here for them?
Oh, I see. Well, if you are on LinkedIn and you want to use LinkedIn to generate relationships and ultimately business, you tend to want to do some of those things. And if you don't, if I was connected to someone, the first thing I do is look at their profile. Are there someone that I actually want to talk to and for a reason? And not everyone posts. And some people don't even communicate on LinkedIn. So if you send them a message, they may never see it. They may accept your connection, but they may never see a LinkedIn DM, a direct message, that's sent to them. And in those cases, you just have to connect the dots. This is kind of business 101 type things that if they're not on LinkedIn, roll them off of LinkedIn to an email. I have pretty good guests on my shows. So what I did was I had to switch out my panelist. How do I do that in a short notice? I said, well, I'll have to do what I know. I'll reach out to them on LinkedIn and I'll shoot an email and I'll call them and I'll actually leave a voicemail, old fashioned voicemail, and of course they all said yes. But and they're not really clients. So it's a little different. You can get away with certain things in that respect that you couldn't get away with clients. But what's the appropriate medium to reach out to that individual? Well, if you connect it with them and they don't reply on LinkedIn, it is appropriate to send an email. You said, hey, I appreciate being connected on LinkedIn. And I know that not everyone, looks at the LinkedIn messages. So I wanted to shoot you an email. And then maybe do a Loom video attached to the email. Do something personalized that will engage that individual. And there's all sorts of things. I told you I sent a voicemail, and I just don't do that on new connections. But I always try to say the relationship is equal to the ask, So if I just connected with you, what's appropriate? What's our interactions beforehand? On the flip side of that, what if you do post? Do I want to just send a connection request to you? Maybe not. Maybe I want to engage with some of your content. Maybe I want to engage with some of your network. If you're posting something and I want to reply, if it's an engaging reply, if you're a thoughtful reply and that person replies back, that's a lot of touch points. All the sales conversations, you need X amount of touch points, right? Well, you're kind of right and kind of not. 15, 20 touch points don't mean send them 20 messages in a row. That's not what it means. It means to figure out how can you be placed in the back of their mind or in some cases in the front of their mind. Well, if you engage in a post, if you look at the post, that's a view. If you like a post, that's another touch point. If you comment on it, that's another touch point. If they reply back, that's a touch point. You do that twice, 2 times in a week, you already have 8 touch points. And then maybe the following week, you could send them a connection invite if it's appropriate and say, hey, I enjoyed your post that talked about A, B, and C. If you feel it's worth being connected, let's do it. And that moves your percentage of being 15% accepted all the way to 85%, because he took the time, he already knows who you are. Not only have you increased the chance of being accepted, you've moved the relationship down 2 ticks already. And so all these things that we do on LinkedIn is really about relationship building, and then how can I help that individual selflessly? So when you say, I can help them do this, no, I'm not talking about what your company can do for them. I'm talking about what you can do for that other person. So people always think that oh yeah, what I'm going to do for their company is going to be awesome. They don't really think like the human brain doesn't work that way. Um, it's all good to talk about the company, but it's not really about the company, and it's not even about the team. It's about that one individual that you're reaching out to. How can you engage with that person? Most business decisions do not um, do not occur on based on facts. It doesn't work that way, right? It doesn't. It's like you can have the best facts and whatever, but if you're a jerk, unless they have to use you, they're not going to want to deal with you.
No.
So 80% of decisions are based if they like you. That's it.
Yes.
That's it. They like you. Do you share some of the same values? For example, I'm a single father. I was in the United States Army, and so I appeal to a lot of people. I'm family oriented and stuff like that. I'm very honest about everything. I don't show the wounds, but I show the scars. So I'm a real person, and a lot of people can relate to me, even though they're not like me. There's something about me that they see in them, and it's that relationship that makes that kind of conversation happen, and it converts the business if appropriate. And so most people don't realize that. They just spam you, send you a message, talk about pricing. No one, and they don't get it. No one cares about pricing so much. They don't care about if you're gonna sell me as soon as you get to me. That's just awful. It's a transactional thing. We don't care about those type of things. We care about enjoying the time we have on this planet. If I can deal with this person or not. And so there's a litmus test. Are you familiar with what litmus is?
No.
It's a little strip. It's a little paper strip you put into it and you test the acid of whatever it is, right? It's called a litmus test. And so that means if you pass the test or not or whatever. And so the litmus test is if I feel that I could have a drink with this guy or girl, whatever, right? Hang out with him. Because you got to think, it's COVID times, and I'm not going to hang out with someone that's going to tell all my secrets or someone I don't like. So if I like you enough to hang out with you, I'm going to tell you information. That's my comfort level. That's the buying zone right there. And if they can feel, and it sometimes it's not anything to do with business. Sometimes they have a hard time with, their boss or relationships, or they just want to talk to another fellow that they can feel like they can have conversations on, or it could be business. I'm doing this, and this, but I'm having problems with these areas, and I thought it'd be good for us to have a conversation on it. And so those relationships are what closes deals. And LinkedIn is primed for that. It's primed to actually, and I don't have to physically have a beer with someone because it's all remote. So it's just the idea. Would I do that? Just to clarify. And with the individuals on LinkedIn, it's very easy to identify. You can also pick the wrong customer because you're hungry for money, and that could be a nightmare. So you have to be clear on who you would work with and who you won't. I rebranded the Troy agency from return client to Troy agency, right? I wiped out a lot of clients. I don't want to work with them. Different moral values. They're not making the meetings. You know what I mean? So if you're working with me, you have to be honest. You can't be cruddy. I don't care your lifestyle. I mean, if you like tall women, short women, if you're gay, if you like multiple, whatever lifestyle you have, that's oblivious to me. I just want to know that you're a good person, and whoever you're with, you treat well. Because if you don't treat people well, you're not going to do good business. There's something sneaky on the business end. And so I always look for that level of morality. Number one is this person trustworthy? Are they honest? Are they good people? Number two, are you going to make the meetings? Are you going to follow instructions to convert? A lot of people don't know how to do that. And you got people that they just don't have it in them. They don't care about anything but selling something. And you try to teach them how to help them. They don't. It's a foreign concept. You can be 60 years old, and some people don't get it. They don't get like maybe you should stop selling them. I'm not selling. I said I read the message. You're totally selling me on that, and they just don't see it. And so they have lived a certain life that maybe has isolated them, and now they're trying to sell something. And they could be the best person in the world in that arena, but they just can't stand that person to hang out with, and they're not going to want to do business with them. So that's really about and of course you have AI systems and stuff to help accelerate some of those things, but they do it in a safe way. But LinkedIn in general is a gold mine. It's really the place to go, and it's the lowest dollar amount you can do. You know how expensive these ads are, and if you do like things like Facebook ads are really good at targeting on one individual, but they're not good at selling to the masses, because it's really designed for widgets for the most part. There are some successful coaches on there, by the way, but I think that's more of the exception. And so you want to use LinkedIn as just a way to extend a communication platform. And that's about it. How can I help this individual get from point A to point B? And even if I recommend someone to someone else, I'll say, hey, you don't have a LinkedIn issue. You may have an email issue. If you have an email issue, you're delivering your SOW, statement of work, or whatever you want to call it. They don't get it. They don't care. Don't care if it's email. It's a you issue, And so if I say, oh, it's an email issue, here's my email guy. I don't need to make any money because he sends me business anyway. So let me just help him, and yes. So it's reciprocal. So you have to build that network of good people that you can send people to, and they can send people back to you. And again, it goes back to recommendations. So I'm recommending this person to fix the problem. There's a high probability, if they have the budget to fix the problem, they'll go to this person and fix the problem. I gave him business. He's happy. He's not only happy, he's grateful. And if he's grateful, he'll send me recommendations. Sends me recommendations, well, I get paid, and that's kind of how I look at it. So people say, oh, you're helping all these people. You're such a nice guy. Well, even if I wasn't a nice guy, I would still help them because it's logical to do business. And, yes. and I am a nice guy, but I just think that people that aren't nice are very, sometimes they're short-sighted on the bigger picture.
Yeah. Yes. Like you said, being nice to people matters. 80% of someone's decision to do business with you is dependent on, I don't know if that's a real percentage, but something like that. Like you can't even begin to talk business until both people like each other and are on the same page and can communicate, effectively.
Yeah. I mean, unless you have a very high level transactional deal, if they're already been recommended. So when I had an IT company, it was a little different because he called me and said, I just need to take the job. So-and-so recommended you and you need to take the job. That's a different scenario though.
Yes.
When you're meeting that person versus them coming in, it's a relationship building process. And you have to go along with that. If you don't, you're going to be depending on people just to fall in your lap.
Yes.
You want to live life by design, not by default.
No, default, and a lot of people do live their lives by default, and they're waiting and waiting and waiting for something big to happen, and it just a lot of time passes by. Mm-hmm. And again, going back to what you said, being honest, being transparent, being not cruddy, it matters. And people can maybe you can get away.
They can sense it. They'll
Yes.
know it, and you said that if people are waiting for something to happen, opportunities to knock, I just say, my motto is, make your own door and
Yes.
open it. Don't wait for things like that to happen. Of course, there is a waiting period,
Yes.
for certain things, but yeah, a lot of people just they're not connecting the dots. They're not making it happen. And even if you make a lot of mistakes, people are afraid. What are they really afraid? They're afraid of failing, right?
Yes.
But you have to fail in order
Yes.
to succeed. So if you say, "Oh, I'm not going to do this because I'm going to fail," well, yeah, you might fail. I mean, sure, but if you fail a few times, you'll eventually succeed. And that's the difference between the people that succeed and don't. They don't worry about the failures. They learn from it. They use it as a stepping stone to say, "Oh, this worked," or "This was a great idea. It was the wrong audience, the wrong time." That's how you do your A/B testing for even messages. So I had a message that went out, and it had something like 25% conversion rate to acceptance, right? Which is okay. I changed the message to the same audience, got a 50% conversion on it's a cold message, And if I did not think about how can I improve these numbers, how can I run my test on it, I wouldn't have bumped it up. And having half the people accept my invites, pretty high. If you get anything under than 50, if you get anything under 15% or 15% lower, you might as well wrap it up because no one likes you. So you have to get above a certain level. And like, how do I get to that place and make those things happen? And a lot of it is just going out there and trying it, and then surrounding yourself with actually good people. And I think there's another time you're hanging, if you're not in a positive environment, you have a lot of naysayers saying, "Oh, they'll never work," or whatever, right? It may be true that this might not work or that might not work, but something will, and you have to cut those people off. I remember personally, I don't think I should ever show my wounds, but I can show my scars. There's a difference between showing your wounds and showing your scars. Showing your wounds is maybe too much detail, but by showing your scars, you show that you're human. Like, I've been through this, or you have personal conversations that this happened, and they get closer to you instead of repellent. But if you tell them everything in detail, it may be too much. So all these things is about being authentic and knowing when to actually not deal with certain people. And there's going to be a period of time, if you're in that spot, where you have to cut off people and you're lonely. So sometimes it takes a lot of willpower to separate yourself from that area you're at and where you want to go, and then slowly start building rapport on people that are going to help you. I get help because I help people, and sometimes I'll trick them. I'll be honest with you. It's kind of funny. One of my partners, he's another LinkedIn influencer, and I tricked him. And I said, "Hey, I need to do my profile over again. Can we have a video on it?" He said, "Why do you need your profile? Why do you need my help with your profile?" I said, "Oh, I need another pair of eyes." It was a 45-minute meeting. I chopped it up into 7 videos, and he got like 2 or 3 clients out of it. He goes, "Man, I got clients out of this. Thank you." I said, "Yeah, sure." He said, "What do you want?" I said, "Don't worry about it." So, "You just give me clients?" I said, "Well, I was thinking, you think this make a good course?" He said, "Yeah." Yeah. I said, "Okay, well, let's talk about on the Troy show." And we created a whole course, and he started it. Of course, I did half the work, but he did the initial half, and so we got partners because I'm not doing all this work myself,
No.
So I tricked him, but I paid him. I made sure he's paid, and he's
Yes.
reciprocating by helping with the courses, and now we're wrapping those courses up. It's an extra revenue stream. And that's how business starts. You want to help them get where they need to go and make them feel good about it, where they only want to work with you. Like, "Oh, I trust Troy. Troy's not gonna do this to me. He's actually helping me. He's giving me money. So why wouldn't I work with Troy? So that's the kind of thought process that I try to have and exude towards not just my clients, but everyone I meet. Give a, and then of course don't do too much. But how much damage can a 15-minute meeting be? If you have 1 or 2 15-minute meetings a day, open slots, you're there just to help people. I mean, why would it hurt? It would only benefit you,
Yes.
It would only benefit you by giving.
Yes. And being kind. I don't know if you know who Gary Vaynerchuk is, but his number one thing is, be kind, being kind in business. That doesn't mean
Be
not,
foolish.
yes, doesn't mean be foolish. It doesn't mean being naive. It doesn't mean letting people walk all over us. It means being kind and respecting people and finding people that will respect us. And we want to do business, we want to live a good life, we want to make money. And finding people that want to do that ethically, respectfully, responsibly. And we can't do it alone.
No, I mean, maybe before we could, but now it's hard.
Yes,
A lot of moving parts.
a
You
lot of
can't do
moving
this alone.
parts.
I don't care. I am a software engineer. I'm a designer in Atlanta. I was top website designer 2 years in a row. So I'm really good at what I do. A project manager, business owner, a programmer. I used to do a lot of stuff well, and I could walk circles around 4 or 5 people. But those days are over.
Yes.
You need friends. You need to work. You need to concentrate. Things are a little more complicated now, where you can't do everything yourself. And you have to have partners. Whether they're strategy partners or business partners that you can trust, because are you a flea market? No, you're going to be very good at what you do. I don't ever try to compete with another designer. I mean, I may be really good at it, but it's been years. So if he does it 40 or 50 hours a week, why would I spend my time competing with him? Why not just use his services to enhance what I'm doing?
Yes.
So let me just be good at what I'm good at right now. Right now it's building relationships on LinkedIn and helping other customers do it. So let me just simplify that, and make those things happen for them, And if someone needs a website, I got website people. If someone needs content, I can help them with content and roll that in. So I have a main offering, and if they're a client and they need help in other areas, yeah, I can bring those in, but that's not a primary. I'm only good at certain things really, really well right now.
Yes.
I don't want to be a flea market. I want to be
No.
very clear on what I do for clients. That's it. And that way you're known as that specialist. Excuse me. You're that specialist. Yeah.
That's important, because a lot of businesses can get bogged down with, and you said it yourself, you at one period had a lot of clients that you didn't really feel were valuable to your business, and you didn't feel were, worth continuing that business relationship with. And it's the same with products. Businesses can get bogged down with products that may seem great and they may want to, continue moving forward with, but like you as that not so boring LinkedIn guy, you don't want to be a flea market. You don't want to be providing, everything that is possible. You have certain products that you have. You do
And
those
I have a certain
products well.
criteria for the clients too. Most of them are not a good fit. You have to be. Even my clients say for their clients, like, well, I'm a coach, a life coach. I'm doing the A, B, and C, but this is the person I don't want to deal with. I want to deal with my latest one. He deals with executives 45 to 60. So they made really good money. They may be divorced already. They're resetting their life. So they don't have a money problem. They have happiness, life problem, issues because they're at a different stage of life. and now they need to bring that life back in to help a certain aspect of it. He says, well, I don't want, if your life is so messed up, you need to go AA meetings. See, that's a different thing. So you have to know your prospects, the persona of who you can help. And by doing that, you're able to attract those right customers.
Yes, and it's very important. And I think, and also a note that you mentioned older executives, 45 to 65. A lot of younger people are capable in doing these LinkedIn and various other social media tasks, sharing, influencing. But when we do it ourselves, one, it's a lot of time. If you are editing your own content, if you're posting your own content, all of it, it's a lot of time that that individual's taking up. But for people that are older, they may not be as comfortable with the technology. They might not be as fluid with how the services on LinkedIn and how to utilize LinkedIn effectively work. So, services like the ones you provide are I imagine are invaluable to them, because they frankly don't realize, the power of social media is here. It's been here for several years, and a lot of people don't know how to utilize it at all.
It is a lot of work.
Yes.
Like if you have any sort of type of social media services, you can tack on $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a month on top of other services, because it takes someone to really understand your brand to develop material for that. And someone said, "Oh, let's get some people to do a bunch of stuff." I said, "Well, if you're a bunch of stuff kind of company, that's fine. But if you want to produce material that actually gets engagement, so the engagement happens a couple different ways. It can happen from direct messaging and communications. That way, it can happen through content, and so those things kind of meet. And then you have the personality. You want to have the ability to be engaged, be human, really come from a place of service. And you have these three circles, and they overlap. You want to be right in the middle,
Yes.
of that stuff. That way, you get the best of the outgoing and incoming conversations. You have the best of the direct conversations as well. And then know when maybe there are people who are on LinkedIn, but they don't communicate on LinkedIn. You got to connect those dots and understand to meet them on the platform that they're at. So you can start on LinkedIn, and maybe you'll roll off of them. Some things work well, like video funnels work really well in some instances. Sometimes a video message on LinkedIn works well, because they have those built-in tools. They have voice messaging on there as well. So one thing I do is when I connect with someone, if I have time, I'll create a little video on my phone. So I'll just go on my LinkedIn, and I'll just hit them a message on my phone and do a video. And it's a native video. They don't have to leave or anything like that. And 1/3 of the people who see that video converts into a meeting. So I can get meetings right off the connection, right off the rip. But the message is very specific. I'm talking with my face to that individual by name, and I know about their profile prior, and I connect those dots, and I just tell them, feel free to take a look at my profile. If you see any dots to connect, send me your booking link, and I'll schedule some time with you. I'm always open for a conversation. Thanks. And the whole conversation is 20 seconds. That's it. 20, 25 seconds. And I'm not pushing anything. I'm not saying, hey, look at me. I'm doing all this business and all this other stuff. I said, no, you just connect with me. So if you have a moment, just take a look. And if they connect any dots, and they would send me their booking link. So I put the onus on them. Much less threatening. It's more, put the ball in their corner, so to speak. And you're not asking for anything out of the ordinary. The ask is equal to the relationship. They connect with me, And I just asked them to take a look at my profile. My profile's stellar. So
Yes.
if they look at it, they say, you know what, I do need to talk to this guy, then they'll do it. If not, it's totally cool. I got 20 accepted invites a day, like literally every
Yes.
single day. Yeah, without fail. And so I don't have a problem. So if they don't need me, they don't want to talk to me, it's fine. If they don't even take the time to take a peek at it, and it's all in the tense of how you ask for it as well.
Yes.
So you just have to be that human and put that little extra effort for that right audience, and those things have to line up.
Yes, they do have to line up. And it matters. And you sent me a video, and it was the first time I'd ever received a video like that, and it was very unique, and it made me very interactive right away and willing to engage right away. And I know time is of the essence, so before we wrap up, I do want to bring up one thing. And I was on Twitter maybe last week, and someone put out this tweet of how the market on Instagram is very saturated, but the market on LinkedIn is, just very open, and that there's a lot of value in LinkedIn in content. Like you said, there are many people. I don't know how much you said, 700 million people on LinkedIn
That was like last year. I don't even know how many now, but half of them are active
every day, and they
every
want
day.
to see content. They want
Mhm.
when they go there, they're looking to be slightly, be entertained, to learn to something. And
Mhm.
so if you can speak, on what the reason is you believe LinkedIn is, the highest value. And you said it earlier, but just to reiterate as we close.
Well, it's the volume of people, and it's the type of people. The type of people there are used to paying for high value services. And so I'll ask someone, one of the qualifying questions is this, oh, Troy, that's a lot of money. Like I'll charge them. Oh, you charge a lot. I said, no, I'm not. I said, how much is a client worth to you? Oh yeah, a client's worth $200,000. I said, then why are you worried about paying me X amount a month? I mean, it's so you have to have the mindset of, if you're making so much money, you're putting money efforts in somewhere, but you get the most bang for your buck on LinkedIn because they're accustomed to making deals and business arrangements. It's a normal thing versus Instagram is a very visual, and it's not a bad platform. It's just not LinkedIn. It's a different animal. But when people fail on LinkedIn, it's because they don't put any effort in it. I mean, like real authentic effort. They'll try and do mechanical processes. You say, oh, you do this and you do this and you do this and stuff. And but step back and then put the human component in there. And that's what a lot of people screw up on. They don't really try to get, I don't have time for that. I gotta send X amount of messages out and whatever. And they make it a numbers game. Well, how many clients do you really need? Really, how many clients do you really need? You need to get all of them? No, you don't. Me personally, my goal is one client a month. I closed 3 clients last week. Like one client a month is enough to make good money because it's compounding on top of each other, And people say, well, on your IT company, you made right under $1 million or whatever it was. I said, yeah, but I didn't keep $1 million. I didn't keep it. I kept a small slither of it, a salary, with this business, if I made, 300,000 a year or whatever it is, I'm in Georgia. That's like a 1.2 million living in LA. You know what I mean? So it's all about perspective. How much do you want to make as a coach or independent or a software company? You personally, how much do you want to be? What's going to be able to do that? and the customers are there. As long as you have a service that actually works, and you have a good rapport, and then you have a decent personality, you should be able to convert, and then paying me, 1,100 or 3,500 or $4,500 a month is not a major price to pay. Especially it helps you convert those bigger deals. It's like some IT companies, a deal is a $200,000 deal, and so you wouldn't pay anyone to get it. So you rather not get it than pay me my time to help you, because it takes human effort. So they have a ton of systems and AI systems that will accelerate, but without that human component in there, all this stuff doesn't mean anything. You're just sending out trash. So you have to have that strategy, that human element, and the show that person that you're talking to, oh, he put a little bit of time in this. He really cares, So that's why LinkedIn's better in that instance.
My guest today has been Troy Hipolito, aka the not so boring LinkedIn guy. Thanks for coming on the podcast, Troy.
All right. Thanks a lot.